What's up, everybody? I just want to try to help out clarifying args, kwargs, and unpacking for the students that don't know how to do that, and anybody that sees this video, I guess. So, like we said before, some things you absolutely have to know, and then some things you don't have to know to get to work, basically, to work on things. And this is one of those. Args and kwargs are pretty useful. And they're also very simple. You'll benefit from using them, pretty soon, or sooner rather than later. Unpacking has its benefits. I'll show, I guess, one of them here, really. I don't use them a whole lot myself, even, but I will, give you, hopefully this will give you a sense of what's going on. So let's take a look at this silly function that doesn't need to exist, because of course there is a sum function built into the language. Yeah. So as we have done so far, we declared our arguments inside the parentheses of the function definition. And what you've done so far is you have declared an argument for every bit of data that you need. It's what you need to pass to the function. So here it is, right there, actually perfectly lined up by pure coincidence. And here are the square brackets, by the way, if you didn't guess. The sum function takes a list. It does not take individual items, it takes a list. So we'll define that, we'll call it, and hey, it works. We defined, the first number, the second number. We use the first numbers, had to put the brackets right there for the sum function in this particular case. But what if we wanted to be able to pass as many arguments as we want? What if we wanted to sum, or we didn't know how many arguments we had? We'd want the flexibility. We'd want a way to make that happen, basically. And guess what args does? Star args, or this word could really be anything, but that's kind of conventional. Star args is saying, basically, for all the arguments that are, or take in all the arguments that are there, it's cool, and in your function, you will get a list, as evidenced by the fact I do not need brackets right here. So, if you don't believe me, well, that worked. And take a look at this. That worked. Now, indeed, it is quite flexible. I can do whatever I want. I can pass as many arguments as I want. See how handy that can be? Now, if star is two, or if args is two lists, then, or args is two lists, as kwargs is to dictionaries. So the normal way is that you would, you want to have some function called get personal details. It has their name, their age, their favorite color, their pet name. Then you print out their name, their age, their favorite color, their pet name. Boom. And so you say it right here. You actually don't even need to define these. It's not a problem, but let's just get rid of them to show that. I may or may not have done some copy pasting around. But yeah, these are in order, so you don't have to say equals. I mean, you could have done them out of order and used them if you wanted to. That's the reason you'd have to do that, actually. So I pass these values straight in there. Pass them as strings, right? They're right in the same order, so it's cool. I guess if I put them in the reverse order, it really wouldn't have known the difference, honestly. But what if I didn't know what the category name was, or what the key was? Like, maybe I wanted, instead of saying name, I wanted to do first name and last name, or maybe there was no, name in the entry or something, which will be weird. But maybe they didn't have a pet name because they don't have a pet. Then you wouldn't want to bother even printing out the label pet name, would you? These actually aren't labeled, but whatever. Anyway. Enter the kwargs. So let's redefine this to use the star kwargs keyword arguments. I'm saying I want to be able to say something equals something in a similar way that dictionaries work, and I want that to work. So if args, pulls those arguments in as a list, then kwargs pulls it in as a what? A dictionary. Yes, indeed. So let me loop through those. For key value in kwargs.innerItems, print key : space value. So let's check it out. Boom. And boom. All right. I could even add, actually, watch this. I'll say registered equals true for whatever reason. Boom. There you go. Flexibility. So it's almost like I'm saying it's a new variable, or I'm declaring it's almost like you declare variables at the top level of the file or whatever, but you're doing it right in here. It actually looks like, if you were going to put them out of order, like as I had up above, again, the copy pasting thing, that's perfectly fine to do in a normal function too. It's just we actually have to do it here because it'll grab these and it will return a dictionary, which means these will become strings. So that's args and kwargs. Just makes your functions a little more flexible. So, and then unpacking, again, don't stress too much about these if it's causing you problems, but it's basically the reverse. If you want a simple way that lets you, figure out why that type of thing will be useful, and do all that stuff. Like if you try to explain something to someone too much, you make it worse. And sometimes a very short answer that's to the point will let them just figure out why. Just tell them why real quick. Give them an example or something. So let's assume that we have the reverse. The function wants loose items, but we have a dictionary, as opposed to as opposed to args and kwargs turn stuff into dictionaries and whatnot, and lists. Unpacking takes them out and puts them loosey-goosey floating around, right? So a function wants loose items, but we have a dictionary. So here's a function that wants loose items. We have a dictionary. Those names have to match, by the way. There we go. Now if we run it without doing the unpacking part, we get this error. So we unpack it. Got to use 2 stars to get the values here. There you go. You printed all the things. Printed all the values: the name, the age, favorite color, and pet name, which is also Steve. Now, this is interesting. I don't think I've ever needed to use this or use it or looked into it, but you can use the normal list style unpacking and it will give you the keys. Who knew that? I don't know. I wonder if you can do 3. Now we're just getting carried away. Nope, moving on. Let's put that back. There we go. It's happy looking again. Okay, now same thing. Oh no, this one's a little more exciting. I'm actually, the function is set up as a very using args, right? So it will take any number of items that you have, right? That's good and stuff, but oh my gosh, we happen to have a list. It's a list. What are we gonna do? Well, let's see, let's run that. So we have this single collection and we need to turn it into individual items. So you put a star, you unpack it, boom. See how that makes sense, that I said it was kind of the reverse of what happens with args and kwargs. It's either loose items that turns into a list, or a list that turns into loose items, or a dictionary that turns into loose items, or loose items that turns into a dictionary. So that's it. Use them as much as you like, or as little as you like, I guess. I mean, I would suggest using them where other people use them and stuff. That would be smart. But other than that, that's all there is to them. So I just wanted to put that on there. Thanks.